Title changes are often the most exciting and emotional part of any wrestling show. 2024 had some incredible ones this year, and we here at Aussie Cousins Wrestling are going to take a look at what we like the most. It doesn't just have to be a great match, it can be the story behind the win that gives you that feeling. And I just know that if you subscribe to the channel, you'll get that Aussie charm feeling too. I'm Chris Apples, and here are the top 10 title changes in WWE for 2024. Number 10, the Unholy Union win the Women's Tag Team Championship at Clash at the Castle. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn were wrestling in their home country of Scotland on a main roster PLE for the first time ever. But sadly, Alba Fire had tragically lost her mum just weeks before this event in a car crash in Florida. And while the Unholy Union were not built up as the biggest challengers of Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, there was a feeling in that night that a title change could be happening. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill were dominating the match, and they hit their wonderful new finisher on Shayna Baszler. But then Isla Dawn snuck into the ring, suplexed Jade Cargill out of the ring, pinned Shayna Baszler. 1, 2, 3, the Unholy Union are the new tag team champions in their own country. The crowd went absolutely crazy as the two of them went out to ringside to celebrate with their family. When they went back in the ring, the chant of "You deserve it" sung loudly throughout Glasgow. Number 9, Ethan Paige wins the NXT Championship at NXT Heatwave. Ethan Paige seemingly announced himself out of nowhere in NXT on the May 28th episode. There were no major reports of him signing for WWE, so him coming in at the end of the show to attack Trick Williams was a complete surprise to everyone. As he is a long-time veteran, he was put straight into the main event scene, and although he lost his first title match against Trick Williams, he was still hovering around the main event, and eventually a fatal 4-way match was set up for NXT Heatwave with Ethan Paige, Shawn Spears and Javon Evans all challenging Trick Williams. This match was incredible. Javon Evans was flying all over the place and selling his butt off for all the other wrestlers. Ethan Paige and Shawn Spears added that much needed experience to this type of match, while Trick Williams' charisma was on show throughout the entire main event. And in the closing stages, Trick Williams managed to hit his trick shot finisher on Javon Evans. And then he hit his trick shot finisher on Ethan Paige as well, but was pulled out of the ring by Shawn Spears, while Ethan Paige, who's just about knocked out, was pinning Javon Evans. Trick couldn't get back into the ring, and Ethan Paige had just won the NXT Championship. The crowd were absolutely stunned, but this was a perfect finish for Ethan Page's character. Number 8, Roxan Perez wins the NXT Women's Championship at Stand and Deliver. This is another match that was more about the emotion of the event, although the match itself was actually really good. Roxanne Perez was taking on Lyra Valkyria, who was the Women's Champion of NXT, and technically these two put on a really good show. As the match built and built, the crowd got behind Roxanne Perez despite her being the heel at the time. Roxanne kept going for her submissions such as the crossface, but Lyra Valkyria was able to get her into a pin or get to the ropes on every single occasion. That was until Roxanne Perez managed to hit pop rocks, then transitioned straight into another crossface. Lyra Valkyria looked like she was getting to the rope, but Roxanne brilliantly pushed off the rope herself straight into the middle of the ring. Lyra had no other option but to tap out. Roxanne Perez was the 2-time Women's NXT Champion, and Philadelphia exploded. Number 7, the Motor City Machine Guns win the WWE Tag Team Championships on Smackdown. I was a fan of TNA in the mid-2000s, and the Motor City Machine Guns were one of my favourite acts to watch. When they finally got their time in WWE, they were thrust straight into a number 1 contenders tag team tournament on SmackDown. And on the 25th of October episode of SmackDown, they beat DIY in a really good match to become the number 1 contenders to the Bloodline's Championship. And then immediately Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline came out to confront Motor City Machine Guns. They were challenged to a match by Solo Sikoa on behalf of the Bloodline, and Motor City Machine Guns accepted. Tama Tonga and Tongaloa, who were the champions at the time, had the better of the match, with Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu on the outside, putting in a bit of cheating heel work as well. But then Roman Reigns and Jey Uso came out to fight off Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu, and then after a ref bump, the Tongans looked like they were going to cheat their way to victory with a steel chair. But it was Jey Uso who came out to save the day, nailing Tongaloa with a chair and helping the Motor City Machine Guns to hit their Skull and Bones finisher. 1, 2, 3, the Motor City Machine Guns are the WWE Tag Team Champions in just their 3rd match. This was an incredible event and a fantastic way for this legendary tag team to announce themselves to the WWE audience. Number 6, Trick Williams wins NXT Men's Championship at Spring Breakin'. Trick Williams and Ilya Dragunov had a wonderful feud in the first few months of 2024, which was mainly built on respect between the two of them. Ilya Dragunov wanted Trick Williams to come up to his level, but Trick Williams could just not get over the line. And then Trick Williams finally won his feud against Carmelo Hayes and became the number 1 contender to the NXT Championship again. During the match, as expected, Ilya Dragunov was all over Trick Williams, but he had injured his hand, and when he went for the H-bombs, he couldn't quite capitalize and go for the covers quick enough. This led to Trick Williams kicking out of his H-bomb off the 2nd rope. And then when both men rose to their feet again, they ran at each other. Trick Williams got to Ilya Dragunov first, hit his trick shot finisher, and pinned Ilya to win the NXT Championship. The crowd was so loud on this occasion, the camera was shaking as everyone was singing, "Whoop that trick." Number 5, Jey Uso wins the Intercontinental title on Raw. Jey Uso has been in the WWE since 2010, and while he is one half of the legendary tag team the Uso brothers with his twin brother Jimmy Uso, he had never won a singles title until this year. And it was his twin brother Jimmy Uso who robbed him of the Intercontinental title in February after his interference cost him the match against Gunther. And then on the 23rd of September, Jey faced the Intercontinental Champion Bron Breakker on an episode of Raw. This was probably the best singles match of Jey Uso's career. Both of them put in an incredible performance in the main event. Jey Uso managed to hit a spear on Bron Breakker, then went up for his Uso splash. 1, 2, nope. 2.99 kick out from Bron Breakker. It was exceptional, and it looked like Jey Uso was not going to be able to get over the line. Then as Bron recovered, he went on the outside to spear Jey Uso through the barricade. But Uso gave him a super kick. And then as he turned around, he was the one that speared Bron Breakker through the barricade. He got him back in the ring, speared him one more time, Uso splash, 1, 2, 3. The crowd were yeeting everywhere as Jey Uso finally won a singles championship in the WWE. And as an aside, if you go back and watch it again, you'll understand that this is Joe Tessitore's best moment in the WWE. He was magnificent in calling this match. Number 4, Sami Zayn wins the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania Night 1. My favourite wrestler at the moment is Sami Zayn, and his progress to the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania saw him lose confidence in his ability to get over the line against Gunther. Gunther was on an incredible 666-day title reign with the Intercontinental Championship, way more than anyone else had ever held the belt for in history. Before the match, we saw this wonderful entrance with Sami Zayn greeting his family, before his short-term mentor Chad Gable gave him some words of advice, and then his long-time best friend and also best rival Kevin Owens pumped him up right as he went out onto the WrestleMania stage. And while Sami Zayn did get quite a bit of offense in, Gunther essentially pummeled him for a lot of this match. Gunther was well on top, hitting one big splash, followed by another, and then as he went up for a third, he started trash talking with Sami Zayn's wife. And this was the catalyst for Sami Zayn to finally fire up. He wasn't going to take this anymore. And after a haluva kick to Gunther in the corner, he set him up for the Brain Buster, the first time he had ever hit it in WWE. 2 more haluva kicks later, Sami Zayn pinned Gunther, and this incredible title reign was finally over. Sami Zayn's emotional victory was there for all to see. Number 3, Bayley wins the WWE Women's Championship on WrestleMania Night 2. Bayley had a wonderful face turn in February as she finally stood up to her damage control teammates who were conniving behind her back. Let's just forget about the part where she told 3 Japanese wrestlers that what she had just said was Japanese, because they would know that they are Japanese themselves. But anyway, on to the match. Bayley was going in with a knee injury which had been targeted by damage control. The two of them put on a technical masterclass in the ring, with Iyo countering out of everything Bayley could throw at her. Iyo's speed and high-flying ability was too much for Bayley, as it looked like she was going to get herself a win on the WrestleMania stage. And after Iyo hit her over the moonsault finisher, Bayley just managed to kick out. She eventually got back on top, went to hit her rose plant finisher, and Iyo Sky did the most incredible counter out of the move. Bayley couldn't figure out what to do to get the win. And then finally, after Iyo went for another over the moonsault, Bayley managed to counter it, picked her up for a back suplex, went onto Brett's rope for a flying elbow, and then finally hit the rose plant. Bayley was the new WWE Women's Champion. Philadelphia went wild. They were behind her 100% for the entire night. What an incredible scene for one of the most popular women's wrestlers of all time. Number 2, Drew McIntyre and then Damian Priest win the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania Night 2. This is a 2-for-1 here, but it absolutely had to be put together. Who would have thought that the wrestling on WrestleMania Night 2 would have started with Drew McIntyre Claymore kicking Seth Rollins' head off and then managing just to get a 2.9 as Seth just kicked out at the end. Drew and Seth traded massive moves for the entire match as both of them hit several finishes, but just wasn't enough to get the job done. And then finally, after a lot of fighting on the outside, Drew got Seth back in the ring, hit one more Claymore, and he became the World Heavyweight Champion. What an incredible moment for Drew McIntyre, whose last 2 major championships both came during the pandemic era. He went outside to celebrate with his wife, and then saw CM Punk at the commentators table, and started celebrating in front of him. And then, after he did the suck it in CM Punk's face, Punk snapped. He took him out, whacked him over the head with his arm brace, and then we hear Damian Priest music. Damian Priest ran down to the ring with his Money in the Bank briefcase. He whacked Drew McIntyre over the head with it and then cashed it in. One South of Heaven later, and Damian Priest was the new World Heavyweight Champion. Drew McIntyre was champion for just over 5 minutes. What an incredible way to start night 2 of WrestleMania 40. Number 1, Cody Rhodes wins the undisputed WWE Championship at WrestleMania Night 2. After winning the 2024 Royal Rumble, Cody Rhodes finally got his spot in the main event to take on Roman Reigns after a lot of backstage politicking. Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins then lost the match to The Rock and Roman Reigns on night 1, which meant the night 2 main event between Roman Reigns and Cody was going to be Bloodline Rules. Anything goes. The match between the two of them was fantastic. These two have really good chemistry in the ring, and then the match got more sports entertaining. As was a little bit predictable, there was a whole host of characters that would come out to help Cody Rhodes win this main event. But first off, Jey Uso came out to help Roman Reigns. He was chased off by his twin brother Jey, who then speared him off the entrance ramp and into a table in an incredible spot. Solo Sikoa then came out to help Roman Reigns, but he was fought off by John Cena. The Rock came out and he took out John Cena, as well as taking out Seth Rollins, who was in his Shield gear. And then it was The Undertaker's turn. Not Stone Cold Steve Austin, like probably would have made more sense, but still The Undertaker came out. He chokeslammed The Rock. He went out of the ring and it was just down to Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Or was it? Seth Rollins was getting back to his feet. Roman Reigns couldn't help himself. He put the chair through the back of Seth Rollins, and this gave Cody Rhodes enough time to get back on his feet. He countered a spear and hit him with the crossroads, and finally, Cody Rhodes had finished the story. If it was just the match, this would probably be really high on our list, but then afterwards, it was all the emotion. Cody Rhodes was there with his wife, and his mum, as well as a whole host of baby faces from the locker room. Who could ever forget this incredible night where Cody finally finished the story? If you think there are other title changes that should have been on this list, let us know in the comments down below, in a positive way of course. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more of our Aussie twists on WWE reviews, and while you're there, like the video for us as well. On the screen now will be our picks for the NXT stars who will be making the main roster move in 2025. And most importantly, we here at Aussie Cousins Wrestling hope that you all have a wonderful day.